order. And the first thing under finance, I do have two items under finance. The first one is refinancing the bonds at the Malvern Waterworks. And David, could you kind of tell them kind of what that persists of?
Well, we met with a representative from Stevens Group, and he's looking at our bonds, and he believes that he can get us a refinance at a lower interest rate and save us 30,000 a year. It would not extend the life of the bonds and still have the same payoff date and things of that nature. And of course, if the interest starts to go up before they can complete the paperwork and get them sold, then we don't have to sign the deal. And it's just, up to the council whether they think it's worth pursuing for $30,000 a year savings.
Well, and that would be all that it would cost us. We wouldn't have to pay any kind of fee, or did they say?
No fees.
No fees. So, I don't really know. I was not able to attend that meeting. I think it's when I had COVID. So, but anyway, so that is that refinancing the bonds, and it does save us 30,000 a year. There's no extension on time period, and it won't cost us anything to do it. So, Wayne,
If we could, if you wanted to just mull it over a little bit, because 30,000 is a lot of money to me personally, but it's, in the grand scheme of things, it's not. If you'd rather, we'll mull it over and see if we can get him to meet with us. I think we sent an invite with it to him for tonight's meeting, but he wasn't able to attend. If you'd like to do it on a council night or next time or something, that would be fine too.
I think it would be a good idea to meet with them and find out a little about this one. When they're not going to charge you anything to do all these favors for you, always suspicion there's some catch in there somewhere.
Well, what we'll do is we'll ask him to come and do a presentation, because I thought he would be here, and he texted me today and said he didn't realize he had a conflict because he thought we were meeting last night. So how about I just have him come to the actual meeting and do talk to y'all at that time? Would that be okay? Put him on the agenda.
Be fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so we'll add Jason Hallscraft to the agenda if y'all do pass it to go on the agenda. So I guess that's the first item, Wayne, that we are asking to put on the agenda, is to have Jason Hallscraft present to give us a presentation and answer questions.
Yeah, I hear a motion.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I make a motion.
Second.
Did you?
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, done deal.
Okay,
That's not anything, Mayor, that's not anything we'll have to vote on at the regular meeting, is it? If you just invite him to come talk.
Right. You won't have to. Now, there will be a resolution we'll have to pass, I believe, or maybe an ordinance. I'm not sure. It's like we did
Yeah,
before.
but that's down the road, right?
Yeah, it's a resolution.
That is down the road, but keep in mind, rates are low right now. If this is something you put off very long, rates could be higher, or I don't think they'll go much lower, but they could be higher. But we'll have him come talk, answer any questions, and go from there. Okay, the next thing that I've got is I have been talking to Brian Vines with Half and Associates. He is the engineer firm that did our project on Harper Street. And due to the fact that, there's just a lot of money out there for infrastructure and different things, there are going to come up, now it's going to be next year. We'll have to start doing the paperwork now. But there is some money available for 75-25 grant for stormwater only. Now, but that does include the culverts and it could also include the low water bridges, but at the park. But this is the deal. If it's in a low to moderate income, your area that you're fixing this particular item, then it could be a 90-10, but the majority of ours is in the non-low income, and so that would be a 75-25. This grant will not come up until next year, but we have to have a vote to say that we are interested in doing the paperwork on the grant. Doesn't mean we have to do it. Now, if you look on your, behind your packet behind all the Stevens stuff, I've got, some projects there that we have actually chosen to go on the grant. It was, Reed Street, Moline Veterans Memorial to Brownwood, Town Creek, Pine Bluff to Sullenberger, City Park, and the Mill Street drainage. Now, if we went with all of this, that would be like a $500,000 match. I don't know that we can get all these projects done. I don't know. I'm just gonna have to wait until I start working on the budget to see what I can allot for the budget to cover this. And then at that point in time, we'll have to pick out which projects we think are the worst or the ones that, some of these I don't think that we can do ourselves. These are ones that are gonna have to be contracted, but we could take a look at them and see what we might get out of this grant money. But we do have to have a 25% match, and I'm gonna have to just see how much I can come up with in the budget to do this. But what I would like to do is put this on the agenda just to vote basically the vote's gonna be is that we approve pursuing this stormwater grant from FEMA. So this is actually a FEMA grant. It's a 2021 Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities grant. So all I need is just a vote to just say that we are going to pursue the grant. It may not work out, we may not get the money, but they said we don't have to have a resolution, but we just do have to have a vote. So I'd like to put that on the agenda to get y'all to think about and then vote.
I'll make a
Okay,
motion to add this to
have a
the
motion.
agenda.
We had a motion.
Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Now,
Motion
if you
carries.
will, when y'all go back, if you go back and take a little time, on the first page, we've listed all of these projects. On the second page, we've listed where our low to moderate income is. To actually meet the 50, you have to have 51% or more to be in that category. But the problem is you can't mix or match. Everything has to be in that, or if you have one project that's not, you don't qualify for the 90-10. So, but if we could put that on the agenda, that's all that I have for finance unless somebody has something.
Anybody have anything for finance? Do I hear a motion to adjourn the finance meeting?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're adjourned.
Okay, now this one, I do not have it listed down here, and I don't know why, if I just forgot it or missed it or what, but this is going to be under the agenda, and I'm going to talk about it first. And like I say, I apologize because I thought that I had it on here, and I think I was waiting to get some paperwork or something. But anyway, the first thing I would like to talk about is the group that actually, Hank Mitchell is the president, and it's to restore the Tuggle Rosenwald School. They've really worked a lot trying to get grants and fix it up, and it's just, I don't know if y'all have been down there and looked at it, but it's just in terrible shape. We did have insurance on it. Why a roof was never put on it, I don't know. That would have helped preserve it, but it is what it is. So, but they've really tried hard to get some grants to remodel this school, and they've just not had very much luck. I've looked for grants, and I haven't had much luck, but ASU Three Rivers really does believe that if they could get involved in it, they could get some grants. They've actually done the Ritz Theater all on grants so far and plan to continue. But the thing of it is for them to be able to apply for grants, it has to be in ASU Three Rivers name. So I would like to ask you if you would all be willing to let us just turn that property over to ASU Three Rivers. Number one, I mean, it's beyond repair for us to be able to fix. I mean, it's gonna take several million. Number two, I do insure it for 50,000 a year in case it did go ahead and completely burn down. That would be enough to actually haul it off. So we are keeping some small insurance on that. So is that something that you think you would be interested in letting them have that and try to pursue fixing that up? Or
Well,
does anybody have any objections to it?
I don't, but I got a question.
Okay.
Are they willing to turn it over?
Yes, yes.
that
In
group?
fact, yes, we haven't, and in fact, Reverend Mitchell was supposed to be at the waterworks with me tonight, and I tell you, I had to go to the doctor today. I thought I had strep throat, but I don't. So, but he will be willing to come to the meeting to talk next week if he needs to. But yes, they have a 99-year lease, and he's got it, they've met, he's got it in the minutes that say that they would like to relinquish the lease. And then in the process, let's make a deal with for $1 or $10, deeding that over to ASU Three Rivers, similar to like what we did at Morrison Park. I did talk to Cecilia legally. There's no reason why we can't do it. We'll just need to relinquish that lease and have everybody sign it, and then do a new deed to turn the property over to them for like $1 or $10, just like we did the school.
Then we'll be out of it. Okay.
We'd be out of it. Yes, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
So does anybody object to doing that, or?
Sounds like a good idea to me. I don't see the city being able to put any money into it. So if the state can, that's great.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah, if they can fix it up, I'm all for it.
yeah.
Well, that's what I told Reverend Mitchell. I felt like there wouldn't be any objections, because they just want the school, reestablished, and they want to, make it either a meeting place or some type of museum, or there's a lot of things that they can do with it, but we just haven't been having any luck with grants. So I would like to put this on the agenda to
Do we have
work
to
with
vote,
Cecilia.
Mayor?
Pardon?
Is that gonna be by resolution or?
Let me get with Cecilia. And I'm sure she won't care if I say she's got COVID right now also, or she would have been prepared to tell you a little bit
Yeah.
more. But yes, we will have to do a ordinance, or Phyllis, do you remember if it was an ordinance or a resolution for the school? Do you remember?
I think it was a resolution.
Okay, so I think we'll have, I think so too. So we'll have to vote to relinquish the 99-year lease, and then we'll have to have a resolution directing that to be turned over to ASU Three Rivers. So I'll have all that paperwork in your next packet if Cecilia is able to get it done, by our next meeting. So, okay, I'd like to have that on the agenda. The next thing I've just kind of brought to your I wanted to put it out there so you would kind of have that. There was a new bill. It was Senate Bill 386 about water that passed. And I've actually, at the back of your packet, I've actually got a copy of that bill. And I also have some bullet points for you to look at concerning that. For some reason, my bullet points didn't get put in mine. So I'm going to have to do this by memory. But on the bullet points, basically, there's going to have to be some training. I don't
We have
Do you
over 20%.
right now, we do not. Now, if we take in Perla, we probably will. But right now, we do not. So we would not have to include anybody. Now, the council can be the board, but you'll need to read that really closely and see what all we do have to do. Does somebody have the bullet points?
I do.
Okay, could you kind of would you remind me? I did them all, but now I can't remember, and I didn't have a bulletproof in mine.
I've got number 1. I've got oversight on water providers will be Arkansas Natural Resource Commission.
Yes. Now, in the past, there really wasn't any specific group over that. And David, if I say anything that's not correct, please chime in. But now ANRC will oversee that. Just like if a small utility, water utility, was to get in trouble because they couldn't pay their bills or something like that, then at that time they could actually turn that over to a larger entity to run it smoothly and get things in shape, which we've kind of dealt with that right now with, with the PERMA. But then what was the number 2?
Number 2 is new requirements, and you got A, B, C, and D. You got A is the 20%. A board must be established, which we have as the council. But if 20% of our customers is not in the city limits, an advisory committee must be established whereby 2 non-resident customers from the area service shall serve.
Yes, so right now though, we are below the 20%, so we're good on that. It would just be the council.
And then you
Now-
go B is the rate studies.
Yes,
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 the
okay,
rate
we're gonna
studies.
have to do, David, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, what did you say about that?
Well, I don't remember the date on ours, but, cause I don't have a copy of that in front of me either, but we have to do a rate study every 5 years, and then it says in that thing, if you read over it, that you have, if it's, I believe it's less than 30% or 50%, you have to implement them within a year, and if it's more than 50%, you have 2 years to implement them, and there's just several items there you need to kind of be aware of. I mean, we're okay right now, but going forward, we need to be aware.
Going forward, you will keep up with that probably and advise us, I hope.
Yes, sir. And I'll be getting the rate studies probably from ANRC or someone, Arkansas Rural Water, or someone that will do them for us for free. If not, if it's going to be something that's paid, we may have to bid it out, but we'll have to do the rate study, and it has to be a professional rate study. We can't just pull one out of thin air and say this is what it is.
Yeah, I saw in there you had to use somebody that's done one or they've got a list of them in there actually that you
Yes.
have to use, or they have had to have done it in the last 5 years.
Correct.
And here's on this C too, it looks like the only thing we're not meeting is the sewer
Right.
on the putting back
Yeah,
5%.
on the depreciation, we may have to go up a little bit on the water side, but we're pretty low on the sewer on funding depreciation. But we can do it. We're just not doing it now. And it's at some point, I think there was a resolution saying, I didn't interpret it this way when I became manager, but the past administration always interpreted it as a maximum amount we could put in depreciation, and I always considered it to be a minimum amount. And if you remember, I came to you the last time, I wanted to put some more in there, and but we're gonna have to go up some on what we're putting in depreciation.
But we can, that's not gonna be a problem.
Yes. But I don't know, I need a good well, I don't know that the resolution applies. I don't know how you do away with a resolution, but if you're gonna have to follow that rule, you're gonna have to go by 5% a minimum.
Well, we may have to do a new resolution that says all previous resolutions that are in conflict with this law will be abolished, or something similar to that. So we'll get Cecilia and Phyllis involved in that, do what we need to do on that part. Now there's
Also on D, you've got that's where it talks about the training. Within 1 year of election or appointment, the majority of the board shall receive 8 hours of training. Training is required by December 31st, 2022, unless you've been on the board for 10 years.
Wow. Now, David has, first I talked to the Arkansas Municipal League, and they said that the Arkansas Rural Water would have training available. So he has talked to them, and so there is going to be training available. Is that right, David?
Yes, I'm gonna do some follow-up because there's a lot of administrative type training available that I and a lot of managerial people attend, but I'm not sure if there's any that we can do online yet. I'm hoping by sometime next year where we can get it to where you can do it online instead of having to go to an actual school.
But you will keep us
I
following up.
I will keep
That'll
following
be
up on that.
the end of
This
next.
thing has passed so quickly and people have not adjusted yet, I don't think.
But this is saying for a majority of our board, but our board is our council, and several of y'all have already been on here for over 10 years. Is that what we're talking about?
That's how I interpret it.
Well, that's what I understood when I read the bill, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got Larry, you got Mary, Wayne, you've been on here for over 10 years, hadn't you?
Now, my question on that though was, when did y'all abolish the commission? What year was that? Does anybody remember, Phyllis or Wayne or?
Mm,
More than 10 years ago, I know that.
yeah,
It
it
is
was
more than-
probably
okay.
around, oh, maybe 2005, maybe.
Okay. Well, I was just curious about that because I knew if it'd been 10 years, I didn't know if it had been 10 years, then that might apply to everybody. But I
Just
think
sound
it
like
did.
a couple of us might have to have training or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, we will. Main thing today, I just wanted you to know it's there. We will work with you on doing everything that needs to be done for us to comply, and we'll follow up on all that and make sure it's all done. But I just wanted you to kind of see the bullet points were strictly to kind of show you the high points, but you really do need to take the time to go and read it.
One of the other things, I don't know if you read through it, David, that if I recall correctly, you don't have the right to deny someone service if they're willing to pay for having it extended, if it's in your service area.
Yes, I didn't put that as a bullet point, but that's
Yeah,
true.
I saw that in there.
So that may
You can
have,
still require the annex, but if they're willing to pay the bill and it's in your service area, you can't deny it if they're willing to annex.
How do they define service area?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Probably within 300 feet of existing lines.
So it's
That's
just
how
like
they
we've been
define
doing, they pay from the main to their house?
yes.
Well, if they were 300 feet from the end of the line, in my interpretation, they wanted to pay to have the main extended, they could.
That's what I'm saying. It would be out of pocket for them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing actually for a long time now.
Well, we've been doing it if it's right, if it's just making new service. We haven't extended any water mains.
We hadn't had any requests for that though, have we?
No, we haven't. Well, yes, we did have a couple, but it was too far out, and I just said, no, the council's not going to extend water mains. I mean, if you have a service and then we got a water line right there within 300 foot, we can put you in a service if you agree to annex, but I think your resolution says we're not extending service, extending water mains.
But with this new bill, they would have to pay to extend water mains. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, okay. Is it okay? Okay, last I heard about the Perla thing, I know this is a little off subject, but it kind of is involved with this. We had some buyer or something. Do we know any more about that?
They are
Awesome.
interested. We cannot still disclose the name. They've asked us not to, but it is really going to be a good situation for us. That did get kicked out of bankruptcy, so we are in the process of getting them into court. When we do write our intent to sue or whatever, however that verbiage is, we will also include this other company as being the conserver, or David, what's the word, over collecting the bills and running the place for us, basically. So just as soon as we're able to give you a name, we will, but we have met with them again. They're very interested. They think they can get some grants and some principal. Well, it's loans that they would only have to pay interest. They would be forgiven for the principal. And so if all that happens as planned, then at some point, if we chose to take it over, we could take it over at no cost and it would all be fixed. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a good deal for us. We just really can't say yet.
Okay. But I was just thinking if we ever got over above that 20%, then you're talking about, you'd almost have to have a separate meeting, wouldn't you? Because then you'd be involving two other people that weren't on the council.
It's very possible, yes. But if this, I just don't know how that's going to work if this other company becomes the conservatorship over that. I don't know, David. That's a good question. We'd have to talk to probably ANRC and see how they interpret that also. Wouldn't you think, David Costin?
Yes, well, you know our history of getting ANRC to make a decision, so.
But we would have to work with them and see what we could do. But hopefully it won't be much longer till we can completely tell you everything that's going on that.
But if this bill was already in place, I don't even see how Perla could have been in the situation they were in.
They wouldn't. They
That's
wouldn't
just
have.
actually a good bill. I mean, there's some weird stuff in here, but it would have kept somebody like Perla from getting into trouble.
That's very correct. Yes. There's some good points to it, and I think there's some not so good points to it. But yes, overall, it would help on a situation like this. Yes. And they would be required to have been doing a rate study every 5 years, and possibly wouldn't have been in this shape. I'm sorry, Larry.
Yes.
I didn't mean to.
I'm just saying that's primarily why Alan Clark wrote this thing.
Yeah.
That very reason that we're in trouble with.
Yeah. So any other questions? All right. So if we could, we'll keep you in touch with that one. The next thing we do have, we need an ordinance to go on the agenda to start with this first reading, levying our taxes for 2022. Remember, there's no increase in the taxes or anything, but we do have to do this for our millage. So we need that on the agenda. And the only other thing, I do need a vote to reappoint Rob Hanley to the Airport Commission for a 5-year term. His term expires this month. And that's all I have, Larry.
We've only got 2 members here, Mayor, so just of the agenda committee, unless you want me to recruit some people from the finance committee to vote.
We'll vote.
We never did even call the meeting to order, I don't think. Okay, let's just do that then. Do I have a motion and a second to put on next Monday night's meeting to approve pursuing a grant for the stormwater?
So
Have a
moved.
motion and a second. Hello?
Somebody gonna second?
Do I have a
Oh,
motion?
do we can second?
Yeah, we're
Do I
gonna
have a second?
recruit. We're gonna recruit all of you tonight since we
Yeah,
don't have-
everybody.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that sounds like a majority to me. Okay, second thing we want to put on there is Mayor, you said that'd be by resolution, a resolution to deed the Tuggle School to ASU 3 Rivers.
I believe it's resolution, yes, and
Okay,
we'll
could I have a
to.
motion to second to put that resolution on next Monday night's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
And we'll also have to have a vote to approve abolishing the 99-year lease with the Tuggle Restoration Committee.
Okay.
And I will have minutes. I will have copy of their minutes in our packet next week.
Okay, is there any discussion about the Tuggle School? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And also, Mayor, you said you want to, will you do that by agenda or just a vote on the 99-year lease?
We'll just do that by vote.
Okay, but you
Just
do
vote.
want that on there.
Yes, please.
Okay. All in favor of relinquishing the 99-year lease, to put it on the agenda next, Monday night? All in, do I have a motion second to do that?
So move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, that motion carried, Mayor, that's on there. An ordinance to levy taxes for 2022. Do I have a motion second? Put that on next Monday night's agenda.
Make a motion to,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. And I have a motion second to reappoint, to put on the next Monday night's agenda to reappoint Rob Hanley on the Airport Commission for a 5-year term.
So
Do I have a
moved.
motion and a second to do that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that motion carries, Mayor.
All
Anybody on the council have anything they want to put on the agenda? All right, Mayor, why, the citizens wishing to appear having till Wednesday, tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay,
But
Can you hear
is
me out there?
anybody- Is there, I see we have someone on here listening. Are there any citizens wishing to appear on the call? Nope. Okay.
okay.
Now, I would like to put the Jason Hosscraft about on the agenda too, to talk to y'all about the refinancing of the bonds.
But we're not gonna vote on that. I mean, yeah, just
No,
bring
no,
him
no.
on. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
necessary.
Right. I
Okay.
just wanted to know.
All right.
Yeah,
I
and
have-
Mayor, this is Jason. I'm here if you need me.
Oh, you are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I didn't know you made it. I apologize. Well,
no, no worries.
okay. All right, so we went through all the agenda items. Jason is actually on the call.
Oh,
So
okay.
let's, Jason, could you just kind of give us an overview of what you're proposing to us? And we may have some questions.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, what you have before you is a refinancing of your 2018 water and sewer bonds. This is a little bit of a unique transaction, though. Typically, if you remember when we did the sales tax transaction, we had a 5-year lockout period because investors want to be paid principal and interest for a period of time. There is a rule, though, that doesn't allow us to refinance a bond issue prior to that 5-year period, except if you're willing to use taxable bonds. And if you remember in our conversations about the the franchise fee bonds that we did last year, in that particular instance, if you remember, tax exempt rates were always typically much lower than taxable rates. And we're just in a very unique situation where taxable rates are actually lower than where they were when you issued the 2018 bond issue. So the presentation materials you have before you this evening show that the city could potentially save upwards of $730,000 by refinancing the bonds. However, the caveat here is that you actually still have to pay the bondholders out to that call date, which isn't until 2023, August of 23. And there's a cost associated with that. So you'll see the cost is actually $570,000 is what we're estimating it to be based on these numbers. So the question is, and what we wanted to do is just make you aware that there is the potential savings opportunity of cash flow of approximately $30,000 a year of $730,000. However, there is a significant cost associated with it because we have to fund that escrow into that August 1, 2023 date. So what you have before you today, again, is we're just proposing to lower your interest costs, but the cost of doing the refinancing is rather significant compared to what it would normally be due to that escrow fund. So that's what you have before you this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, well, I guess we misunderstood it. So there is a cost of it, just like the refinancing cost, but that cost would be figured in the payments. Is that correct?
That's correct. The numbers that you have before you are net. They've already taken that number into account, and so the savings you're seeing is net to the city of 730,000. But again, just wanted to be very transparent so you understand kind of the
Right,
pros and
but-
cons of the transaction.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we'd be paying an extra 530,000.
That's correct.
60.
Oh,
What would our total savings be?
That's a good question.
Th-
That's it.
Yeah, the total savings is projected to be 730,000.
But is
Oh.
that minus the five? I can't remember the exact number that you gave, but the
560.
associated with that.
That's correct. We've already taken that
Oh, okay.
$560,000 or so out of that number. So the number you're seeing is, so you're to kind of bottom line this, you're basically to save 730,000, you'll increase principal by the amount of the escrow plus the cost of issuance. So on the first page of the presentation, you'll see the principal amount outstanding is approximately 14.3. And then when everything's said and done, we're estimating the principal amount to be 15.3. So it's a little bit more. But again, it's one of those situations where we wanted to put it before you this evening.
so it's going to save 730,000.
Even
But-
though it's adding $1 million to principal, is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. Yes, sir. And the reason for that is just rates.
Because you're paying the lower interest.
That's correct.
But where does the $1 million come from added to the principal?
Yeah, the million part of it comes from the cost of issuance associated with just the professionals involved.
That was the
part comes
$500,000, correct?
Right.
Yeah, and then almost 600 or 570,000 of it's going to be the escrow amount. So those are the different pots of money and where it's coming from. And if you remember, this transaction, I know it's been a while, but is actually insured by one of the bond insurance companies, and so that fee is usually pretty significant too. And we were proposing to keep everything the same, just lower your interest costs. So that fee's been factored in as well.
So at the end of the day, we're going to make extra 730, but it's going to cost us 500.
No, the 730 he said was already minus that 500. Yeah.
Oh, already minus. Okay, got you.
That's
Sorry.
what I asked
Yeah.
our bottom line.
So that's 730,000 over the life of the loan.
That's correct.
Okay.
And keep in mind, this is obviously just like with the franchise fees every day, the interest rates move. If interest rates were to tick up in the next weeks and all of a sudden it didn't make economic sense to do it anymore, obviously you don't owe anyone any money. You would just put the brakes on it and wait, and hopefully rates would come back to where they need to be.
Yeah, we're paying, the cost is going up, but the cost is being nullified by the lower interest rate.
Correct.
Okay.
So what would the rate go? What?
So it makes sense to do it right now. If we wait, it doesn't make sense. If it goes up at all, probably it doesn't make any sense.
No. So what rate
That's
is?
correct.
What rate is it? I don't have my glasses.
Oh, sure. No, absolutely. So the old bonds actually had an average interest rate of a 3.5%. It's actually 3.586%, and we're estimating the rate to be at 2.407%. So it's almost a full percentage point less, which when you're talking about millions of dollars, it becomes that hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings. However, to the comment that was made just a second ago, if it does increase, if it goes up to say 2.75%, it probably doesn't make economic sense. You're probably going to pay more in terms of the cost than it would in terms of the savings. Keep in mind though, every day that we get closer to that optional redemption date, that 8/1/23 date, that will be less money you'll have to put into an escrow account to fund that. This is assuming that these bonds would be issued this fall in November of this year. So again, if it doesn't make economic sense to do it going forward, at least you'd be in a position to capitalize by moving forward next week in terms of just authorizing us to go ahead and get documentation kind of in order to move forward.
Gotcha.
We'll do it. If we want that on there, do we have to reopen up the finance? I mean, it makes sense to me.
Yes, because we'll
As long
have
as we
to
get
pass.
now.
We'll have to go ahead and pass. What is it, a resolution to get us started? Is that right? Jason?
Yes, that's correct. You have a resolution, I believe, before you this evening. All it does is just authorize us to get to work and start putting you in a position to move forward.
Wayne, do you have any questions?
No, I guess we could go ahead with the resolution. As he said, we have the option of opting
Back
out
out.
at some point before it's actually done, if something goes wrong.
All right, then, do we
That's
need
correct.
to, I guess, reopen the finance meeting, Wayne? To get
Okay,
on the agenda?
I make a motion, we authorize, or we move this to the agenda to authorize the pursuit of this.
Second.
I
have a
second.
motion and second. Any questions, comments? All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. I guess, is that all for the finance? So do y'all need to adjourn that?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn again.
Okay. All
Second
right,
again.
then I guess we're
Adjourn.
reopen.
I call the agenda meeting to order. Do I have a motion and second to put the resolution for pursuing refinancing the city's water and sewer bonds on next Monday night's agenda? Do I have a motion and second to do that?
I so move.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that carried, Mayor. Do I have a motion second to adjourn the agenda committee meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned, Mayor. It's all yours.
Okay. My dogs were acting up. The next thing I have, that I wanted to talk about was we have gotten the paving company, they're rolling into Michael's shop, they're delivering the materials, and Michael, should they start maybe next week? This week?
It
Or
could
have
be
they already
as
started?
early this week.
Okay, but they're bringing in their equipment and all the materials, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. The next thing, I think I text some of y'all though to let you, or text you, let you know, but my office is going to be closed some this week. Our bathrooms will not work any longer because there's a bunch of collapsed lines because it's so old. They're probably going to have to jackhammer up the concrete to put new lines in. We're not sure what's going to happen, and I didn't budget for that either, but hopefully I'll do have some extra that we can cover that, but we have no choice. We have to have bathrooms. Also, the one in the very back is not working, so I just wanted you to know that we will be working out of the code office this week, and Robin has fixed our phone so that we can answer it from a different location. So we'll be doing that. I am working with Pumphrey to finalize the signing of the contract on the police station, so that's in the makes, and the other guy, the gentleman with Ideal Construction Company is also working with all his subcontractors to get everything signed. If you haven't been out to the fire station, you really need to go. It's really coming up and looking good. The other thing, I guess, that's pretty much all that I guess I've got right now that I can think of. You got anything for me, anybody?
What's the status on the planning commission? Are they up and running?
Chris he's actually took vacation this week because he's down in Louisiana helping with he's on a mission group with them. But yes, they've had their first meeting. We've talked to Von Tuglin, and Von Tuglin, is that his name? Wayne Von.
Yeah, Jim Von Tuglin.
Yeah, Tuglin. Okay. Anyway, so he is going to give them training online like this. So that's in the makes. So as soon as Brewster gets back, he will actually schedule that and get things started. They actually have voted their officer positions, and they've also all looking at the bylaws. And I told them before they really did anything on the bylaws, I really think they should get with him to see what we do need to change. So anyway, we've got that going, and that should be on the road to getting everything fixed there. Anything else?
Have we heard anything else on I guess Popeyes is still paying what they're supposed to pay and
They're still paying, aren't they, David, still paying their sewer bill?
They're still paying it.
Okay, they're still paying their sewer bill, and Cecilia has turned in the paperwork, from what I understand, for the courts, to the court, but we haven't heard anything. They haven't set a date or anything for that.
Okay.
So, but that is in Makes too. Trying to think if there's anything else. I can't think of anything. Anybody else
Mayor?
got anything for me? Yes.
Yes, the walking trail is coming along
Yeah,
real
that's-
good at City Park. So if you get a chance, all the concrete work is done. He's grading to get ready to put asphalt from the pavilion, from the Chicken Hut pavilion to the bridge. So hopefully they'll be laying asphalt next week and it should be wrapping up pretty quickly.
Now, I know people may fuss, but there by the bathrooms, we had 3 dead trees that had to be cut down. The best price I could get to cut them down and haul them off was $3,400. But if anybody makes a comment, they're both right there by that bathroom. We had no choice. They were completely dead. So that's, I think I saw them out there today working on cutting those trees.
Yes.
So, but we didn't really have a choice on that one. It had to happen. And anything else? Anybody can think of anything? David, your Holly Street's gonna be trash picked up tomorrow.
Excellent.
We have had the prisoners a lot lately, and you can look on your report when you get Stacy's reports, but we've actually been getting the ADC to do quite a bit of our ditch cleaning out too. We've had a lot of drainage ditches that needed to be cleaned out. So they've been working a lot on that along with the parks. Seems like there was one other thing. Oh, I can't think of it. I don't know what
I was just going to mention something about that too. I think I'd said something to you one time, Mike. I don't know if, when they're running that mower on those wooded streets, if they'll pick up that trash first or let Stacy's group or the prisoners, boy, it'll save a lot of trouble for somebody. Because that mower goes through there and you got that much trash, boy, it just goes everywhere. It's kind of like the department. Before they do their mowing, they'll go through there and pick all that trash up before they mow, because it'll just shoot it everywhere.
Next time, Michael, why don't we coordinate that with your flare mower? I bet
We
he's
do
the
that.
one there. So if you'll let me know what day he's planning on going back through there, I'll make sure Stacy's group can be out
We'll
there.
do that.
So we'll coordinate that between the two of us. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. The animal shelter, Stacy worked with a lady about and I tell you who it is. It's the Sturgis Foundation bunnies that the Roy and Christine Sturgis. It's a foundation, and so Stacy actually helped this lady with a sick animal, and in the process, she turned around and donated $5,000 to the animal shelter, which I can say we get a lot of donations now since we're working with the Stop Cruelty Against Animals. But we actually bought a little outbuilding to start storing things because she's out of space. And I'll tell you something else that I also talked to, and it's none of it has happened. I have asked them if they would have a meet when they had their next meeting, talk about it. But the hospital has the land around 2 sides of us, and there is a part that's just a square there right beside the animal shelter. So I'm trying to work with the hospital foundation. I've talked to the county judge. I've talked to the foundation and I've talked to Tony Hardage, the administrator, about possibly just maybe doing a 99-year lease or something with that property next to us to extend the animal shelter. Since the Stop Cruelty of Animals have gotten involved with us, we don't euthanize at all anymore. The animals are all shipped out all over the United States. But we have really run out of space. I mean, totally out of space. So I just want you to know that I'm trying to work on that option with the hospital to see if possibly we could just, do a long-term lease of that property next to us so that we can use that for animal shelter. But nothing's transpired yet, but I am talking to all of them, and they're supposed to bring it up at their next foundation meeting. So, other than that, I can't think of anything else unless you've got something for me. Anybody? Well, then do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
I guess all in favor, shut your machines down. We'll see you Monday
Good night,
night.
everybody.